Hey everyone, it's Louisa Munson from Feel Good Astrology, and oh my goodness, there's so much going on right now in the world. As I record this is the 9th of March 2022, and a lot's been occurring to me in my work as an astrologer and a coach, in particular with clients, and the kind of work that's going on, but also with what's going on in the media right now, what appears to be washing through the collective conscious. And also what I'm perceiving as a channel, as an empath. There's stuff that I'm feeling and connecting to right now, and I wanted to just kind of touch base on it. So I've said that this is about understanding Neptune and the effects of Neptune in our chart, because we all have Neptune in our chart somewhere. And I have a lot of clients actually that have Neptune on their angles. And that's not necessarily easy. It's almost like, in our chart, we've got like a north, south, east, and west. They're known as the Ascendant, the Descendant. There's the IC at the bottom, which is the angle to do with the home and our childhood. It's the foundations of our life, really. And then there's the Midheaven at the top, which is about how we make it in the world, how we stand in the world as an adult. And wherever Neptune goes, it represents an area of great sensitivity for us. Now, Neptune right now is really highlighted. I mean, Neptune's been in its own sign for many years. It's in the sign of Pisces, and it's coming to the end of that. Not quite yet, but it's in the last little bit, with the last third of its time there. And wherever Neptune goes, it creates confusion and also lots of creativity. And I can see there's people watching now. So please do say hi. If there's something you want to share with us, please do. Just let me just put a banner at the bottom, actually, just so that there you go. Join us if you have something to share. And I think I've got a bon dia from Moaz. Thanks for joining me, Moaz. Thank you. So like the creativity of Neptune is vast. If you imagine like a spectrum of creativity, at the highest end of creativity, you've got the divine. You've got that connection, that feeling of divinity that exists in every one of our cells, in every bit of our body. It's like divine intelligence, that thing, that spark of life that we all know and we all feel. And Neptune represents that in our chart at its highest expression. But of course, every planet has a flip side, and not all of our Neptunes are going to be well highlighted by their positions in our charts. And we might not all be feeling inspired all the time, but it represents that potential for inspiration, where we feel the divine, where we're connected to the divine. And of course, when we are connected to the divine and we understand ourselves as children of God or the universe or whatever you think, or maybe you think that you are the universe. I mean, there is that as well. I tend to think that myself. When we recognize the divinity in ourselves, we are connected to the divine all the time. So we have these divine inspirations. We have a sense of knowing, we are so, as Abraham Hicks would say, we're so tuned in, turned on, tapped in, whatever, you know what I mean? We are so like tuned into the flow, the ebb and flow of energy that the divine expresses itself through us. And in that we feel very calm, and we tend to feel full. We feel complete. The urge to merge is not such a huge issue for us because we feel full in ourselves. We feel enough when we are connected to the divine in that way. We are so full of love. We're so integrated, like every side of ourselves is loved and accepted, that we feel wonderful. We're not searching for anything. All we're searching to do is to expand and explore ourselves. Now, Neptune on the other end, shows our urge to lose ourselves. It's so painful to be ourselves, so painful to identify with ourselves, or so boring, uninspiring. It's almost like we're the furthest away from our divinity as we could possibly be. And during that time, we tend to have not very good behaviors that harm us or destroy us. We go into a destruction mode, and it can represent like drugs, alcohol addictions. And actually, in that place of the negative expression of Neptune, what I see is we know the gap. We are living in the gap between what we know to be true about the divine and that feeling of being absolutely captured by the divine in our life. And we feel the misery of that gap. We know where we should be or where we could be. We sense it. Kids are born knowing they're divine until we disabuse them of that. So it's very painful. A negative Neptune can be really sort of like painfully expressed. And right now, as always happens, what's coming up is reflected to me in the clients that I work with. And I'm seeing lots of people right now struggling with Neptune issues. You know, Neptune, wherever it goes, it highlights our sensitivity. And initially, when it comes to us, it comes with confusion. It's foggy. You know, we don't always understand things. And so right now, and it's also in the sign of Pisces, which is also very foggy. The sign of Pisces is about the unconscious mind, you know, and it's vast. You know, if you're trying to find something in there, you know, good luck. You know, it's like a needle in the haystack. So right now we're in this vast time of energy and water, like the sign of Pisces. It's the ocean or the universe, the infinity of the universe. Like we are in the expanse of something really huge in the psyche and the psychic fields. And we've got Neptune, our planet, which could connect us to the divine in it. So we could get connected to the divine, but it's such a big thing. We almost, as humans and as muggles, we can't process it in our bodies, or most of us can't. Now, what's been occurring to me over this last couple of weeks is the level of grief that has been coming up, and also joy. And the grief, I think, is this it's easy for us to numb ourselves, so we don't have to ever really process what we're feeling. And as we numb ourselves to what so we don't have to really feel and get to the truth of it, we lose the opportunity to connect into the divine. The moment we cry, we stop trying to control things with our ego. The moment we allow ourselves to feel the pain, like really feel it, like sit with it, allow it in, the moment that happens, something magical occurs. We connect to our divinity. We absolutely, in that breakdown, we have a breakthrough. We usually connect to our divinity. We feel magnificent, and from there we can grow. And so we've got this with grief. I also notice that people often don't want to feel their joy fully either. So, you know, we almost don't want to feel joy fully because it hurts our heart as well. You know, when life feels so joyful, it's so painful. It feels like our heart's going to crack. Now, here's the thing with Neptune right now. It's in its own sign, in the sign of Pisces, and Jupiter is coming into an alignment with it. And I am talking about this in other videos because this is a big thing. It's a heart swell. Jupiter magnifies everything that's going on. So we've got Jupiter magnifying emotions, Neptune highlighting sensitivity and the doorway, the gateway to divinity. And we've got the emotions of Pisces, and they're all coming up, and there's almost like this wave of consciousness coming all over humanity right now. And for those empaths, we're like, whoo, kind of, if we're lucky, we can surf through the waves and we can go, yeah, man, I'm feeling it. If we're unused to feeling our emotions, and it's too painful, it almost feels like our hearts are cracking open, then we're going to shut down to it. And where's that emotion going? Where's that energy going? It's going on to all the other empaths and stuff. I did this lovely show yesterday with Gillian Alexander, which I didn't do it live. I pre-recorded it. It's going out at the weekend, I think. But she was saying, you know, when there's this emotion, this mass of emotion and psychic energy, we need to ground. You know, if we touch the ground, lie on the ground, Earth will take it. Earth will take it for us. We don't have to take it. But I'm seeing what's going on right now with Neptune as being a medicine. It's like the Neptune medicine is to allow this moment to change us, allow it to collapse us, allow it to dissolve all the hardness, all the sorrow, all the grief, all the love that we can almost not bear to stand. Just allow it to go, because as we allow it to move through us, wash through us, that's when we connect to our divinity, and that's how we know it. So for those of you who've got who know their charts and they've got a Neptune connected to the Ascendant or the IC or the Descendant or the Midheaven, you've got a really strong sensitivity. And And during this time, when Neptune is so fully highlighted, you're likely to be picking up like a lightning rod. Oh, yeah. So if it's on the ascendant, how it's coming to you is through your body, really, really through your body. You'll be feeling this continuous energy. So if you've got Neptune on your ascendant at birth, or if Neptune is going over your ascendant, you are processing the waves of consciousness, the waves of grief, the waves of deep joy as well, and personal satisfaction, all of that through your body. You may also notice that there's a bit of a water retention thing going on as well. Allow your waters, cleanse your waters, allow, to, do as much as you can to pass water and to cry and sweat. Just get it moving. It's really important when you've got Neptune on your ascendant or in your ascendant at birth that you allow it to pass and shift. The last two charts I worked with had Neptune right slap bang on the part of their home. Now, the angle right at the bottom of their birth chart, the IC, as it's also known, it represents that part of our childhood. It represents our birthing. It represents our mums and our dads, our attitudes and behaviors that have come from our wounds that happened in childhood. And so for these guys right now, you're being triggered by the waves of emotion are bringing back all the childhood issues, the childhood pain from birth. Like people who have that on their IC tend to have had, like for instance, I know people who've had parents with drug issues or drink issues, or people who've suddenly disappeared for no reason, which is a very sort of like Neptune thing. There's often a bit of cruelty or abuse that, and the thing with Neptune is it's confusing. So it's not articulated. It's a really difficult kind of pain to deal with. So you've got this pain from childhood that you can't articulate. And for people with Neptune in their birth chart, at the bottom of their chart, or with Neptune going over it right now, the challenge for you is to recognize that your discomfort is coming from the childhood feelings. It's coming from what was unexpressed in your childhood. And again, allow it to pass through you as water, cry, wee, sweat, and also shake and dance it out, whatever you need to do. Because as you do that, as you let this pass through, there's your connection to the divine again. It's really important for people with Neptune in that position to recognize that they are children of God. Or children of the universe, that they are the divine spark lives within them, because from an early age, it was almost kind of not beaten out of them, but it was almost frowned upon. Like, you were the sensitive child. You were the one that people were projecting onto. Talking of projections, what happens if you've got Neptune on the Descendant, or you've got Neptune going over your Descendant right now? Well, that's a tough wicket, because the Descendant represents all of our relationships, everyone that's in our life, the people we like, the people we don't like, the people we have our marriages and relationships with. And right now, the confusion is coming to us via them. Now, is it because they're projecting onto you, or are you projecting onto them, or is it kind of like a projection palooza? Who cares? It's just going on. There's this, like, you're each other's hook. And it's very, very difficult, because if you're trying to plan your life with somebody else and they're going through this, you won't be getting a straight answer. It may well feel that someone's deceiving you. And so trust is a really, really big issue. If you've got Neptune on your Descendant, or it's passing over your Descendant right now, trust is the biggest thing. And so what you're learning right now in seeing the divine is to trust that you are everyone. You are everyone. Like, you are absolutely connected to everybody that's ever lived. It's like every aspect you see in somebody else is just what is within you, and it's just playing out. And the fact that you're recognizing it in other people is also an indication that it resides within you. And the challenge for you right now is almost to make a list of or make a mental list of what's going on, and to understand that what you're seeing in other people is actually what's going on in you. And the sooner and more quickly you can forgive it and allow it, the quicker you can connect into what is divine. Like, let it go. Nobody's perfect. We are all, actually, we could say we're all perfect and sort of exploring the world in different ways. The important thing is just to recognize that, we need to treat each other like we would treat our own children, our own babies. We need to love each other and love ourselves like that. Now, again, with the angle theme, if you've got Neptune on the midheaven, like the highest point of your chart right at the top, that's about your self-expression and how you stand in the world. And so if you've got Neptune there, or Neptune is passing over there right now, one of the key things or sensitivities for you is that, how do you make it in the world? How do you stand in the world? How do you stand as a grown-up in the world? How do you do it whilst being fully expressed? There's some confusion about how you do it. It almost doesn't feel right to do it. It feels scary to do it. It feels really confusing. And you might find yourself in a place of being misunderstood for what you put out into the world. So it's not a surprise that many actors, musicians, artists, creators, spiritualists, or like psychics and stuff, we often find people with that like heightened sensitivity and creativity have Neptune right at the top of their charts, and it is huge, because obviously like we do get over our childhoods at some point, or we grow out of our childhood, even if we drag it along as baggage behind us. But like we move home eventually, like we leave home, we become adults, and then the rest of our life is spent trying to express ourselves and find purpose, which is what the midheaven represents. So if you have Neptune in that high elevated place of your midheaven, or it's going over there right now, your biggest challenge in this world at this time is, how do you express your purpose? How do you put your finger on it? How do you express it and be absolutely vital with it, even if other people can't understand it? How do you cope with other people misunderstanding you? And how can you hold your vision complete and perfect and whole? So, Neptune in all these different positions has a very, very like strong influence. And like I said at the start of this, I think it's going to be a brief broadcast. Right now, the theme of Neptune is intensified because of Jupiter and Jupiter's position. So, if I was in your shoes right now and you're feeling sensitive, I would look up where Neptune is in your chart, or get an astrologer to do it for you. I've got a whole bunch of videos that you can watch, like showing you how to create your own chart and how to find the location of Neptune. Know where it is. And I think I am going to be doing a video very soon, Neptune through the houses and through the signs, to give you a bit of a heads up. But it's interesting to see where your sensitivities are, and likely how this wave of emotion, highlighted not only by Neptune but also by Jupiter being in a conjunction with Neptune, how it's going to influence and how it's going to kind of flood into your life. I really do, as I'm looking at the charts of people that I'm working with these kinds of configurations, I really do see that the way out is to kind of let go of the identity. I mean, we are so identified with our personalities. We're so identified with who we are and what we do, and this, that, and the other. And we're very identified in our emotions. We are trained to hold on to our emotions. When I was a kid, my parents used to say to me, "Oh, you're so angry. You were born angry." And it becomes very difficult to have any kind of other expression when, like, an emotion is put on you, or you accept that is who you are, because actually emotion, it has motion in it. Like, emotions are supposed to flow. It's okay to feel angry in a moment and to allow that to pass. It's okay to feel sadness and allow it to pass. It's okay to feel deep joy and satisfaction and beauty and take it all in, and it will also pass. These things are meant to be passing through us, and right now it's like a tidal wave of energy. We really need to watch the water that we're in right now, and allow it to pass, allow it to go, breathe through it. This is an incredible time. I really do want to, like remind people, like when you've seen animals and small children, when they go through something, painful, something emotional, they instinctively know that they need to move and cry and howl. They almost like die in the process. It sounds like, I attended my daughter who had fallen and hurt herself today, and it sounded like she was dying. But she felt the emotions. She allowed it. She allowed those emotions to go through her. And then afterwards, she felt that sense of relaxation in her body. And no doubt you can remember that time too, where, after a really, really good cry, where you wailed, all of a sudden, afterwards, yeah, you're exhausted, but that sense of relaxation, like every muscle in your body is, it's like you've been in a meditation, same as animals shaking themselves, like they go crazy. When I was living in Bali, I came across a load of people that actually shake to shake away things physically. And children do that. And then they're told not to when they go to school, or by their parents, stop doing that. But, instinctively, we know that we're not supposed to hold on to emotions. And when we don't allow them to go, we hold on to them and our faces become pinched. I can see where I'm holding on to loads of emotions right now where I need to let go. So if I was in any of your shoes right now, whatever you're feeling, allow it. Completely allow it. Allow it to wash over you, because this wave of Neptune energy is coming up, and it's coming up to swell. Now, Neptune has a really long orbit time, so it takes we're getting a couple of comments in, so I just want to share some of them. Moaz is saying, I'm going to watch your videos and locate my Neptune. Bless you. Yes, do. It's worth your time. You need your time, place, and date of birth, and then it'll be done. Bob is saying, thank you for this, Louisa. Fascinating. A bit damp to lie on the ground here today. Oh, where are you? I mean, I'm in Portugal, as you know, and it's damp on our ground. So I'm probably just going to go and stand in the ground. I read today, actually, that somebody I'm connected with, someone in their family has given birth today, and someone went outside and got some grass and just rubbed it gently over their newborn's foot, just so that child has touched the earth and grounded. And like I took in this deep breath and went, I almost cried when I heard that, because it's so beautiful. So yeah, we have got, and thank you for those comments, by the way, we have got this massive heart swell coming in. For those empaths, you're feeling it in the post. It's in the post. You're feeling it already, for sure. I think most of us are already feeling it. We are feeling the pleasure. We are feeling the pain. We're feeling the grief. We're feeling the deep joy of the divine. And as you work with Neptune, as you recognize where you want to lose yourself, where it's not quite comfortable to be yourself, where you fudge kind of who you are, and where you kind of lie a little bit about who you are, we lose our connection to the divine. So anyway, I'm going to leave that there. I will be talking so much more about Neptune in other times, but I just felt it well up in me. Having spoken to quite a few like empathic type people in the last few days, I know full well that, we're all feeling it too. It's not just me. So on that bombshell, I absolutely wish you so much luck and love. Bob was also saying, I was just joking a little bit, and is also saying, I like that grass baby story. I have to say, when I heard about this lovely baby being born today, because I had this beautiful conversation with my good friend Rick this morning about unity, like birthing the unity and birthing the world of unity and transparency, or something like that. We spoke so much around it. It was beautiful. But when I heard that this child had been born, because I'm feeling so open-hearted from all the communications I'm having with people right now, I'm really feeling the pleasure and the pain, for sure. I feel so open-hearted. I just felt so much gratitude for every child that's coming through right now. I mean, these kids have got the biggest balls going. I mean, like, fancy coming into this world right now where we are so hyper-polarized, and with this wave of energy that's coming in, these are some beautiful beings coming to join us. And I'm sorry, I'm I'm just totally moved by what's going on right now. And then Jackie's saying, hugs coming your way. Thank you, Jackie. So I'm going to have to go because I'm following my own advice. Clearly, I've elevated myself into this feeling of absolute overflowing joy right now. So anyway, feel the joy, feel the grief, whatever is coming up for you, feel it, allow it to pass through you. It is absolutely special. It's that thing that is going to allow us all to pass through this time. We won't get washed away. What will happen is the emotions will get washed away, and we'll be left feeling so much more divine. So, babies, and more coming here in Ponta de Lima. Fantastic. Excellent. Well, God bless you all, whoever your God is, however you see it. Lots of love. Speak to you soon. Thanks for connecting. And take care. Bye for now.